What's on the agenda is all that can be discussed, Mayor.
Really?
We got agenda, Mayor?
Want to, Mayor?
Financial upgrade, discuss health and current plan, and then discuss plan for filling the city treasurer.
Okay. I thought that last one was on there.
What was number one?
Okay,
What'd you say number one was?
you,
I know, but what did it say specifically?
financial update
Okay.
from outgoing city treasurer.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I was following it. Okay, so everyone should have a packet, and at the front of that packet, it should say balance sheet, page 1. So it's actually 2 pages, front and back. Of course, it's unaudited. The auditor will finish probably the audit by the end of the year, but it's unaudited. One of the most important things, I guess you can see down to the very first, let me see here, through account 11312, you'll see all the cash accounts at the very first. That's First Commerce Bank, First Farmers and Merchants, First Commerce Bank again, First Horizon Bank, Investments General Fund, which is the LGIP, confiscated funds, and then the road escrow account. So that's all cash. A lot of that is, or some of that is restricted. We'll talk about the restrictions in just a few minutes, but basically you can see you know, where your money's at. We have been combining, one of the things that I've been working on, we've been combining funds so that you didn't have so many bank accounts. There were a lot of bank accounts. And so we had payroll, accounts payable. I think at First Commerce Bank we had 5 accounts. So we have been combining those, you know, giving it a month or 2 to make sure nothing else comes out. And we've been closing some accounts, you know, as we could. That process will continue after I'm gone. But we have narrowed it down to these accounts. The next sections are basically, we've got you'll see taxes receivable next fiscal year. I've got those on the books at 5.4 million. That includes your pilots. Everything else is just basically your delinquents. Below that, you don't have a lot, honestly, that's still on the books. It's, you know, do a very good job collecting those. And then all the due from things that you have to set up at the end of the year, you'll have due froms and due tos back and forth between funds, you know, because you have to cut everything off at June 30th. So basically, this is just a lot of accounting work, the last portion of that. We have our inventory, we have our prepaid expenses, prepaid insurance, because insurance is paid up front, so that is an asset on our books of $162,000. So your total assets are $15,026,135.51 on the front page. On the back page, these are all the payables that we set up at June 30th as well. Accounts payable, sales tax, and then all of our accruals that are listed there are all payroll accruals. We have, again, we have some due tos where we owed some money to other funds, to the county government, cash bonds, you know, deferred property tax, which is part of the entry that was on the first page, and then the deferred grant equitable sharing, that is the ARPA. And then if you'll notice the next section, this is where we break out the fund balance. So the fund balance unreserved is 9.3. You can see that, okay? But then we have a non-spendable endowment, Lone Oak is 100,000. Restricted for ARPA is 2.1250261. Restricted for public safety, that is the sex offender registry, the sex offender fee account. Fund balance committed for other purposes, the UDAG, that's 332,088.63. And then again, your fund balance unreserved is 9.3. So your total fund balance after you take the 9.3 and you take all the reserves out is 6.768160.82. And you can see the beginning fund balance, your net surplus, which we'll talk about here in a minute on the income statement, and then your ending fund balance is 0.7, and again, that's your unrestricted and uncommitted fund balance. Okay, this it has all your reserves taken out.
And that could change a little bit if whatever the auditor, the final auditor.
Yes,
right?
yes, it could. It could, absolutely. If she has some adjustments, that possibly will change. Do y'all have any questions about the income statement? I'm sorry, the balance sheet. We're at the income statement now. So the income statement, I think it is, let me see how many pages here. I think it's 7. It is 7 pages. Okay. So the first portion, I think it's the first page, and then 3/4, I guess you could say, of the second page, that's your revenues. Okay. So you've got 3 columns. You've got your actual year-to-date for the 12 months. You've got your budget, which is your amended budget. You know, it was your original budget, then the amendments you have, and then your variance, which is your percentage, like what you spent of that line compared to what you budgeted. And then if it was unfavorable or favorable, you know, whether or not you collected what you said you were going to on the revenue or you didn't. And then we get to the expense, it is, did you stay within budget or did you overspend? Basically, that's what that is, okay? So that's the first 2 pages. So we budgeted on revenues with amendments. Now, there were some amendments. 15,321,380.40. We collected the 14,834, so it was 487,000 less. But basically, where that is,
What page, I'm sorry.
page 2, right here.
I'm way ahead, okay.
Okay, page 2. So basically, where that is, it was amendments that were done on grants and various things. And transfers, that a lot of that stuff you go in and put it in the budget, because if you don't amend it and put it in there, and you actually get it, then you know it can be an audit finding. So you always try to be conservative, go on and put it in there. Then if you don't get it until the new year, then you just budget it for the new year. So 487,199.07 was the variance on revenues. But you collected 96.82%, which is great.
And this is through how many months?
This is for fiscal year 22-23, the 12-month period.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for the whole 12 months. We're looking at everything as of June 30th. Since we've made all the adjustments for audit, I wanted to be able to give y'all some new financial statements. The next section actually starts with expenditures. Starts with admin. And on page 3, you can just, you know, go to the top there and you can look at actual versus budgeted. They only spent 91.63% of the budget, left a surplus of 142. That's on general admin. Shop spent 83.93, still had 36,064 left. Animal control was at 93.29 with 9,536 left. On police, which this is one of your bigger budgets, only spent 88.47, had 363,628.19, and a lot of that was because of that, you know, vacancies and that type of thing on positions. So on fire, 89.45%. You had 258,035.34 left in that budget. Codes, 96.62, had 6,300 left in that fund. Streets, it goes over to page 5. On streets, 94.79%. That's 103,498.43 left in that budget. Industrial development, 92.13. 12,723.70 left there. Recreation, and it goes over to page 6. And that percentage, it actually added that column. I'm sorry, I did not fix that. I meant to try to fix that. It added the column rather than taking the percentage. It did it on all of them, and I had to go back and redo it. Yes, that's one that I forgot to do. But anyways, you had 188,055.76 left in that budget.
And that figure's correct, just not the percentage.
Yes,
right?
yeah,
Okay, got
yeah,
it,
just
got
the
it.
percentage. It just added it straight down.
Okay.
Airport, 93.72%. That's 33,058.95 left. Cemetery, 66.55%. It's 10,671.65 left there. Appropriations, which is your 911, appropriations to Marshall County. That's 90.66. That's 34,625.01 left there. Sanitation, 99.12% with 1,500 left there. Your sundry appropriations, that goes over to page 7. 80.53%, and that's 14,718.65. And then on debt service, you should always meet your debt service requirement, so 100%, there's like 24 cents there, so. But anyways, your total budgeted expenditures were 13,253,04861. You spent 12,038,267.67. That's 90.83%, leaving you a surplus of 1.214,780.94. So you were under budget significantly. That's almost 10%. That's great.
So that rolls, this is as of June 30th.
Yes.
So that rolls over to the next fiscal year.
Yes, so basically what you do on the income statement is you take your total revenues minus your total expenditures. So that number down below that says net surplus deficit is 2.795. Okay, you see that number on that last page? So if you go back to your balance sheet, you will see that number that I told you we'd be looking at. That was your net surplus or deficit comes over your balance sheet and it adds to your fund balance. So that's how you got to your 6787 on your fund balance. Okay?
So that additional, was that number used to be added to the new budget?
Your fund balance. Yes, your fund balance.
But it wasn't included in the new budget?
In the fund balance number only. Fund balance. It goes into your, yes, it goes into your, we included that number in your fund balance, so that we didn't have the exact number when we did the budget.
Right.
So it's gonna be off a little bit. Once the audit is done, what you do, the proper thing to do is once your audit is complete, you actually take those numbers out of the financial statements, out of the audit. You take those numbers and you adjust your budget according to that. So once the audit's complete, you don't do that with this financial statement, but you wait until you get your financial statements in the audit. And then whoever your treasurer is, your treasurer should make those adjustments so it adjusts that fund balance up to where it needs to be.
The question was a portion. Did we predict a portion to build the current budget with? Or is none of it recognized until?
No, part of it was because we estimated where we thought we were going to be. So a portion of that would have been included in
And
there.
that was less than what it actually turned out, you're saying?
Yes, yeah.
Was it-
Because you always try to be conservative when you do your budget and you estimate high, like you're going to spend almost everything. And so we estimated higher in the budget, but not quite as high as what was on here. So yes, so that part of that is included in there, but not all of it.
Is it a significant amount difference between what you budgeted and what it actually was?
Probably, I would say, let's see, 1.2 over there. I would say probably maybe half of that. Yeah,
Okay.
about half of it.
That's good.
Yeah, it's great. I think all the departments and the city, should be commended for holding expenditures to a minimum. It's really good. Okay, do y'all have any questions on the financials?
Oh, no, okay.
And of course, one of the main things that you always want to make sure, and we were very cautious approaching year end in the very last meeting that we had, we wanted to make sure that we estimated our expenditures to be in line with what we were going to spend. Because in the event that you overspend, it's an audit finding. So let's just say that codes, for instance, if codes that bottom line had been over, that's an audit finding. So we were very cautious to analyze every single line to try to figure out exactly what we thought we were going to spend, and just to make sure we had enough there. And as you can see, all the functions were positive, so that's great.
Would it be an audit finding if you transferred it from GA or something that you're not spending as much from general admin?
Like if you transferred money from there to, say, a different
To
department.
cover it? Uh-huh.
Well,
Would it still be an audit finding?
So you're saying something that wasn't approved by this board?
No, I'm saying that codes overran their budget, $500.
Oh, yes.
So if I took $500 out of general admin and went over there and put it to codes so it covered it, would it still be
The
an
only
audit
way you could
finding?
do that is through this board, because
Right.
it wasn't budgeted.
But would it be an audit finding if we did? I mean, I'm just curious.
No, it wouldn't be an audit finding. It would be an audit finding if it was not approved by y'all, and
Right.
it wasn't done by June 30th.
Okay.
Yes. So it would be an audit finding, because what auditor would reverse that. The auditor would go back and reverse that and it'd still be over.
Right, but if we approved it, I mean, I'm just
If-
wondering,
no, if
because
you
I've worked for
approved it
nonprofits
before June
before, so I
30th.
know
No, if you
how
approved
that's
it before June
handled.
thirtieth, it's not audit fine.
Okay.
No,
That's-
you can,
that's
you
fine.
can move money around,
Yeah.
this body can move money around between functions or do anything like that, you can do that.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we made it the budget.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
That's all we had to do.
Absolutely. And that's why we did those budget amendments.
Yeah.
Was to try, you just
Try
do
to
a lot of
balance that
cleaning
out.
up, and most of it was
Mhm.
staying within that. We tried to clean up a lot of the lines. You're not gonna get all your lines perfect. That's why they recognize you can't, there's no way to possibly predict every line, but your function you can.
Yeah,
And so
sure.
that's why, they don't, it's not that strict. But, you have to, in doing that too, you have to predict bills that are gonna come in that you're not really aware of because of those due to, due froms, because when you set up a due to, due from, you have to go ahead and back that expenditure into the fiscal year, and we had to do a lot of that. And so you have to say, there are gonna be things that come in that we're gonna have to back into the year so that we don't go over. Because when you back it in, you go in and recognize that expense even though you're not writing the check to the new year. So it only affects cash. Okay, any other questions on the balance sheet or income statement? Okay, all right.
On the debt here, before we go.
Sure.
Have you got all of them listed over here? Or let's see here.
Okay, so the debt service schedule, I put the debt service schedule in there, because you
Yeah,
have.
but
yeah.
I guess before you move on, page
Okay,
7.
sure. Yeah,
Got recreation center bond payments, 216. What would that be for?
which one now?
Under debt?
The
49.
67, 320. Okay,
Yeah,
so.
right here.
Yeah,
I guess what I'm asking, what was the bond payments?
Okay.
What was the bond for is what I'm
Okay,
asking.
so there was, and y'all will have to help me with this, okay, because this is one that's paid off, so you don't have it.
Oh,
in
it's
the future.
paid off.
It's paid off, yeah. The only one that you have is the 2017. It was paid off last year, and basically,
Okay.
there was, my understanding, the confiscated revenue, which Debbie was in here, the confiscated
I see.
revenue that, that y'all were getting, y'all were making the bond payment for, and we had to split it up. Part of it was police and part of it was for recreation. And down there in the office, I can tell you what it was for, since it was paid off.
Was paid
I didn't
off, I
bring
guess
it,
it
I didn't
doesn't
bring it.
matter now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it
So
doesn't
the only
matter.
thing that you have, because this was last year, the only thing that you have is that 2017 series, and that's why I put that schedule behind here. That's all that you have. So that is paid off.
So 2007, that's,
The 2017,
but it says 100% paid off.
no, that was for that fiscal year. That was your bond payment for that fiscal year only.
Oh.
So
okay.
on this scale, right here, this is just what you paid during the 22-23 year.
Okay,
Yes,
out of
sir.
the 3 I'm looking at,
Uh-huh.
how many's paid off completely?
Okay,
100%?
where it says 2016,
Uh-huh.
that is actually one issue, okay? But we had to split it between two different functions, police and recreation, but it's really one bond. That bond is paid off.
Okay, we
The
don't
one
have
that
to cover
says,
anything for that?
no, don't owe
Okay.
anything for that. The capital outlay note, series 2017,
Right.
that 195, 368 was your payment for 22-23. That one you still have, and that is on the schedule attached. So it was originally a $2 million note.
Right.
Issued on 2/17 of 17. It matures 6/1 of 2029, and you can see for the upcoming fiscal year, the principal is 167, the interest is 24, so your total principal and interest will be 191,301.30. So,
I got 186. Huh? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at total,
yeah, so for all the years, you owe on principal $1,002,000, interest of 84. Your total principal and interest is $1,086,859.78 for the maturity of the bond.
And that's all we'll have left.
That's all
anyway.
you've got, absolutely.
At 2.43, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, percent.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Got it.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the debt or that schedule? Okay. So I'm just kind of moving, I may be moving around a little bit on the agenda, but next, all that I just put this in here so that everybody would, so that you guys would have it. So Benefits Blueprint is a company run by Tim Herndon, And he is the one, his company is actually the third-party administrator for your, I call it a gap plan, basically that makes up the difference in your health insurance plan, and makes up the difference in the deductible, basically. So this is the team that does that. He is actually working on your renewal for the new year, which starts January 1. I asked him to come up with some other options, things that they do to bring to BAM, and then he can, you guys can set up a budget committee meeting or whatever, and let him present it. The other portion of that is, going direct with the state, if y'all decide that you want to go direct with the state. So I can get information to BAM on that, because I'm not sure, you've got to get on that, because renewals are October and November. You have to get all that paperwork done. So if you decided you wanted to change, you would have to have everything changed over before January 1st, okay?
Pam, did you get it in time to put it on the work session? Did you see my email asking you for it yesterday? Okay. Is it going to be on the work
It'll be
session?
on the work
Okay.
session.
These are the people, this is a family company,
It is, yes.
and they're the ones that saved us significant amounts of money. So you're saying they have a broader base of...
There are other options. There's other options that they can bring before you to show you different plans. And I just said, come up with some things that you're doing for other places, bring it before the board, show them what you currently have, what they currently have, but bring them other options. And he said he would work on doing that. And again, get with y'all to get something scheduled to bring before the board. And like I said, the other piece of it is just looking at going direct with the state. I would do that if I were y'all, just to see what they have to offer. So that's really all I've got on the health insurance. Just if you're going to do something this year, you're going to have to jump on that in the next 30 days.
Expand on that a little bit about going to the state for insurance.
Mm-hmm. The state plan. Cities and counties, municipalities can go direct with the state, and you don't have to pay all those administrative fees and things that other companies charge. And you don't have to have a broker, so you're directly with the state. I'm sure you probably have the state plan, don't you, where you're at? So, but the city and county, they contract directly with the state plan. And again, it's direct. You don't have to have a broker. You don't have to have any of that. So you basically enroll everybody through the Edison system. It's relatively easy, but again, they've got different tiers. They've got different tiers that you guys can look at, for single, different plans. They've got standard, premier. I'm not sure what all plans they've got. Do they still have Cigna and Blue Cross Blue Shield? Okay, I thought so. So they have, different carriers that you can look at. So I'm just saying that when you guys look at this, I would definitely take a look at what they can offer you direct as well, the state.
There may be some potential savings there.
Maybe savings, I don't know. But yeah, I would just look at everything.
Be responsible to certainly.
I absolutely would.
These other people.
Yeah, I would.
Who
I
would the contact be for that? Who would?
I will give it to BAM.
Okay.
I've got a name downstairs. I'll leave it with him.
Thank you.
I sure will.
That's excellent information. I did not realize the state. That has really, in years past, that just strangled.
Yeah,
No.
that costs nothing to do it right. The new hires would be nothing.
Oh, no. Mm-mm.
So that's a different.
Yeah.
We're
Right.
talking about retirement there, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes, health insurance and retirement, two different.
Yeah.
Did we go over, I know we went over the restricted funds and the balance, but I saw UDAG in here.
Mm-hmm.
And what were the other two amounts?
Okay, so right here it's on the back of the balance sheet.
Yep, yep.
Okay,
I
so
got
the non-spendable endowment loan of the 100,000.
Yeah, I understand that.
You know what that is?
Yep.
Okay. Restricted for ARPA. That's just the ARPA balance, and that, of course, that goes down as y'all spend it. Restricted for public safety. That's the sex offender registry account.
Okay, okay.
That's what that is. And then you're committed for UDAG, the 332. And then that's it. That's your restricted
Because
ones.
we talked about, well, I guess it was the recycling company.
Mhm.
And I don't get, Greg, if we closed on the recycling?
No, we
company?
haven't. We just received their
Yeah.
survey of the land.
Yeah.
So
We
that
haven't
was
closed
gonna
on
be
that.
the restricted account. I
It
think,
is, yeah,
wasn't
but
it?
I didn't have it yet, but I did
You
have
wanted
that
that,
on the
it's not
list.
closed, so-
Yeah, I did have that on the
Okay.
list.
Was that all? Is that all the only accounts?
I thought we had the Babe Ruth field and another 154, and we were showing that separately.
Well, now, on
we
your,
combine that into some.
well, in your cash here, you've got, let me see. You've got some, you've got some different bank accounts up here. You've got the road escrow account, that's a contract, that's 75,098. In your, I think y'all sold something for $500,000.
That was Babe Ruth
Okay,
field.
that is in that is in LGIP. That is in this money up here, investments in general fund. That's in that. So it's restricted. It's automatically restricted because it's in a totally different account over there.
And there was another 150,000 or so that, we had that next door. And we were drawing such all interest, we moved it over. You're not familiar with what I'm talking about?
Well, no, I know what you're talking about because there's $100,000, but it's up here at that First Farmers and Merchants. I think it's at First Farmers and Merchants.
That went over the government investment pool, I think.
Yeah, it's
right?
all, that's what I'm saying. A lot of that's in this 6.159. Like I said, that's an automatic restriction, cash.
Well, we got from the state from COVID one year, about 150,000, we combined it with $500,000, so we were carrying about 650,000
Yeah.
as our baby rainy day fund.
Mhm. Yeah, that's gonna be over there in that investment. Yes, yes, sir.
And we talked about unrestricted fund for the police department's new building. At the end of the year, we were gonna make a journal entry.
Well, we looked at the minutes, and I don't think y'all ever, I think y'all discussed it, but I don't think y'all ever moved on that. Yeah, because,
Where was that money again gonna come from? I mean, I can go back and look at it. We did it in the budget meeting.
yeah, I'm trying to, but it never went before the committee. I'm trying to remember, what was that?
Was it Amazon?
Mm-mm.
It was something very recognizable. I mean, when it
It
comes
was, I
in.
can't remember, I'll have to look.
And
I'll
it
have
was
to look.
gonna be an end of the year
Mhm.
entry.
It was, yeah. But it didn't, I don't think it ever came before the board to actually, and it has to be passed by this to be
Sure.
set up as a restriction.
Right.
Yes, but it was discussed.
Mhm.
Did you just go to B? The next item B is discuss healthcare plan for 2024.
Mhm.
Is that,
I did, and I'm gonna talk about TCRS
well,
next.
that's in addition to what
Yes.
you talked about?
Yes,
Okay.
that's kind of in one, that's what I was saying, I'm kind of skipping around because, I was asked to talk about that too. So that's really the last thing that I have unless y'all, unless
So
there's
that we
questions.
concluded on A. Everybody's asked the questions. Okay. So we're going to B. Discuss healthcare plan for 2024.
I just did that.
She just talked about that. She's
Okay.
gonna go to TCRS. next.
TCRS, yes, we'll talk about TCRS.
That was my,
Yes.
didn't I say that initially?
Yeah, that's health insurance, she's going to retirement now.
Yeah, we're gonna retirement, yes, okay. So, I did get a lengthy email back from Frank, very lengthy. I will be glad to, share it with you guys, okay? And that way you can study it, because it's a lot of information. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit the high points on this, okay? So, yesterday, and I know, Joe, you weren't at the budget meeting, but we talked about freezing the current plan and bringing all new employees into TCRS. So we talked about all the different variables. One of the things that he confirmed, he said, in the event that we do that, when a new employee enrolls, there is no probationary period. It starts from day one. There's not even 30 days. There's no probationary period whatsoever for them to start, okay? He said that based upon the current TCRS publication, that the contribution rate is like 9.1%. If the employee contributes 5%, which is customary, okay, y'all can actually change that percentage. You have the authority to do that. then the employer's portion would be 6.5%. He did that calculation for us. So, but he said that based on it right now, that the contribution's 9.1, the employee, if you assumed 5%, then the employers would be 6.5%, and that is of their salary, okay? It's of the salary. So, of course, with that in mind, you know, that would be a substantial savings. And of course, it's going to take time, but it would be. So he said that he would write an amendment to the current defined benefit plan that we have. You have to actually, he would have to formulate an amendment to freeze that plan. Okay, so he said that he would work on doing that with y'all's approval. And then it would be 12/31/23 before, it has to be at the beginning of a quarter for you to go on TCRS, okay, and to make that change. So it would be 12/31/23 is when the new, you know, you could adopt a new plan. So he'll do an amendment to freeze the old plan. He'll do a resolution. He'll get that from TCRS to, you know, enroll into their plan. And then he said that while he's doing that, that he's also going to get TCRS to go ahead and, let me see what terminology he used. That he'll find out what information that the actuarial or the actuariist will need to do a cost service estimate. And basically what that would be is they would look at a few things. What we talked about yesterday. What would it cost to bring all employees over to TCRS? That's number one. Number two, what would it cost to bring employees over, because we did find out we could do this. What would it cost to bring over TCRS employees that are, you know, employed now? So like if you've got somebody that had 5 years in TCRS but they're on our defined benefit plan, what would it cost to take those TCRS employees and move them over? So moving everybody, moving just them. He's going to look at those different options, and he's going to find out what all information that they need. They'll need the updated actuarial that's being done now. We do know that. But basically, it's a matter of getting, you know, TCRS. He said TCRS would have to run the numbers. They'll have to run the numbers. The other thing is One America, which is who the defined benefit plan is with, they will also have to do a calculation. And again, let me use the correct terminology here. He said that as of 7/1/22, that there's an unfunded actuarial liability, accrued liability of $5.2 million. So if you know, we're funding at $22 million right now, if that's what's in there, then the unfunded portion is 5.2. Now, that is a lot of projections that really are, I would almost say, ghost numbers, but it's the worst case scenario, okay? If everybody retired at the same time, you understand what I'm saying? That's what they have to figure. So.
Can I ask you a question before you move on?
Sure.
If you mind? I don't want to interrupt you. The $22.8 million liability, pension liability, we're funding that through the 20% that we're paying into the retirement plan now.
Yes.
For future liability. If we stay in this plan, it will go up past 20%.
It will go up for a while. It
Yeah.
will. It will. It's at 22% this year, I think.
Yeah.
Right at 22%.
So, now I understand all that. Now the $5 million is what, did you say again?
They consider it an unfunded liability. So basically what that is where they take and they look at mortality rates, they look at all these different things and say, this is what you're funding over here, you know, based on your current participants. And then they look at all the other things to say, you know, in the event that everybody retired at the same time and you've got all these different factors, the unfunded portion would be 5.2. And again, that's not really a real number.
Yeah.
But it's
In
just,
ideal world, I
it's, yeah,
understand that.
it's
Yeah,
not.
I understand.
It's not a real number. So don't let that number get you upset,
Right.
because that's not what it would cost to move everybody over. A termination liability is what we're going to be looking at. Is what would the termination liability be to terminate the plan and move everybody? So that's going to be a different type of liability. I just wanted to mention that in case when you're reading this, and you'll be able to understand it when you know, look at it and break it down. So,
I have a question before you move on.
Sure.
You said he's going to compute numbers 3 ways. One of those was, how do we get employees that used to be in TCRS
Mhm.
there?
Right.
So we've got 2 things. We've got new employees that we're considering putting there right away,
Mhm.
but what if that new employee was already TCRS from
Oh,
somewhere
yeah,
else?
it's gonna be great for them.
Okay, but that's it. We won't have to have a computation on that.
There is a, well, let me say this. If it was somebody that was in TCRS and came straight to work for us,
There'd be
then
no
there's
money.
there's nothing.
But if there was a break in it, we would have.
It's a possibility, yes, and
Okay.
he talks about that in here.
All right.
He talks about that in here. If there's a break, that there may be a cost.
Okay.
Yes, that there is possibly gonna be a cost to that.
Okay.
Right. And he does, like I said, he does talk about that. I mean, that's the basis of all of it. Like I said, I will copy you guys on this. It's a lot of information. It's a lot. But it's definitely something that I hope you guys go to. I mean, I really do. It's, in the long run, this TCRS is something you can sustain, this other you're not gonna be able to sustain. It's
Right.
gonna keep going up
22%
every
is
year.
killing us.
It
Yeah.
is, it absolutely is.
Are you gonna email that to us?
Absolutely, yes, I am. I will.
What we discussed yesterday, I thought, was that we could go immediately to new hires, and they were going to provide us some information that we could, who is Frank?
He's the attorney working on it,
Okay.
Frank Carney.
Uh,
Well, that's why we just talked about, you have to do it the first of the quarter. So you can't do anything until
12/31.
12/31. You can't do anything till then.
Okay.
Yeah, he found that out. The other thing is, they're working on the cost. That is, we have to wait until the actuarial is done, that they're working on right now, that One America's working on. You have to have that data before they can give you a number.
So, the earliest we can move, even with new employees, is the next quarter.
Right. And but he is gonna go ahead and write the amendment to freeze the O plan. He'll have those documents ready for you guys.
Before that time.
Absolutely. That way you can, because you can vote on it whenever you want to. It's just that you won't be able to move to it until that time period.
Oh, I'm sorry. You have another question?
Yeah, I think I asked this yesterday. Do we have any equity in our existing plan?
I'm not the person to ask that question, because I don't
You
like the
understand what I'm
plan.
asking?
I don't think
We
you got,
paid in all of that.
I don't think you have any equity. It's
No, it
underfunded.
sounds like we have a
It's
little-
underfunded.
About 5 million, we have
That's why your
liability.
percentage keeps going up, is because it's underfunded.
Underfunded, you'll go pay a penalty to get out. So
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting
Mm-hmm.
anything left over.
Now, your effective date of 12/31 for new hires, would that be new hire as of 7/1?
It would be anybody that's not on the other plan. I asked him that.
Anybody that's not on, even if they may have been here,
For a few months. It's a year.
I was gonna say like 9 months?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Anybody that hasn't come onto the new plan would be eligible to go to TCRS.
At 12/31?
Yes, absolutely.
No matter their hire date,
Yes.
as long as they're not on the old plan?
Mhm,
Okay.
Right.
So, the fact is that new hires would be at no cost at the quarter. No upfront cost.
Not unless it's somebody that was in it that's in the, no, you're talking about all new hires though. No, new hires, no new cost.
To get into.
No.
So.
Unless that new hire had a
That would
gap.
be a minimum.
Yeah, let's have a gap.
That would be a minimum that we could do if we found out that it was gonna cost us millions to get out of, freeze that other plan and to get, that's what he's gonna provide us
Right.
before
Yeah.
in the coming
Yes.
weeks.
Mhm.
Okay.
Sure is.
I got a couple things, Mayor. What was that guy's name out of Memphis again? You told us.
Frank Carney.
Frank Hardy?
And it'll be on that email, right?
It will be, yeah.
Oh, no, I just won't get here.
Yes.
Mayor, I just want to make a couple comments that, because I'm not sure everybody's been in contact, but the pension attorney, Frank Hardy, the water department's agreed to pay half his attorney's fees. So, can we put that as a reminder in minutes or somewhere in the notes? AKA Trigg, also known as Trigg, said that. Now, I want to make sure the Lewisburg Electric, Brad out there is contacted to see if they want to get on the state plan too. But one time city may have interest, but it's not coming before the board, so we'll just have to, we want him included, you know, in the talks.
So about gas.
I was gonna say the gas.
I had talked to Gas.
Yeah, I'll talk to Leland. I think I think it needs to be
Sure.
aware of it and everything.
Presented.
Sure.
Now, do we need to keep it on the work session? Because well, that resolution to freeze it won't be ready, right?
No, I don't think that, it's way too early.
Right, so do we need to keep it on the work session, or we want to talk about it some more?
You keep it on there, and if we didn't have any new information.
Yeah, and we can
Move
all
on.
read that
And you can
email,
do
and we
that.
might
I
have
can table it,
questions.
yeah.
Okay, let's just leave it on there then.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Teresa, and this,
There's your last page.
Tomorrow's my last day.
Tommy, did you say
Are you coming in?
talked to Brad, or
Huh?
you're going?
Oh, yes.
No, no.
Brad?
I'm
I
working
have
all day tomorrow.
Spoke to Brad.
You didn't?
Just to see if he might have any interest. And he, you know, the board hadn't passed everything. So Brad, I think would
I
like
wish
to be
if I
in
would've
on
done the conference next
the
week, I
talks. I
would've-
mean,
I
the
would've
same
worked
as
on next
water triggering them, if they're on the conference call, then Brad needs to have the opportunity to be on the call too.
Yeah,
And we just wanna
I'm
leave him
working
out.
late tonight.
And then-
Laura
I'm sure you
came,
are.
Laura came in today and she said, I admire you so much for working so hard. She said, I ain't never seen anybody that was leaving a job work like you are. And I said, well, that's just who I am.
Who said that?
Laura did today.
Well, I've expressed it before, and I'll say it again. You have been a blessing to this city in the short time that you've been here. And I think I speak for the group. Anybody can add to.
I think she's done a great job.
We owe you a great debt. We wish you the very best. We know you will excel in your new position. And if you need help loading up those roses on your list, I'll be down there to help you.
She can't take her chair, Mayor.
No, I'm
Too
talking about the
comfortable.
roses.
They're gonna be.
Oh.
they'll be
He likes
fine.
my chairs, he does. Well, thank y'all so much for giving me the opportunity. I have, hey, I've made wonderful friendships and, you know, lifelong friendships. And it has, you guys have been a blessing to me. You have. I mean, everybody just welcomed me in and, you know, and I know y'all got a close-knit, you know, community, but no matter where I went, you know, there were a lot of people that already knew who I was. And y'all got a great team. I mean, you really do. I'm telling you, y'all got some rock star department heads out there. I've worked, you know, like I said, in Lawrence County for 20 years and worked with a lot of other communities and even, you know, as a consultant. And one thing that I have to say is they are very, very conservative. All of them are very conservative. You can tell by the numbers as well, but they really are conservative. You know, they, if there was ever a question about anything, they always came in, talked to Bam, talked to me before they would spend anything. And so I admire people who are like that because they remember that it's taxpayers' money and it's not theirs. And so, like I said, you've got great staff here, admin, you know, wonderful people, and you know, y'all are a great body, and I wish y'all a lot of success. And I appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity, and it's been bittersweet for me. I'm telling you, because I love everybody. But y'all know that anything that you need, I will be willing to help you. I'll answer questions. I don't care. Just contact me and just don't go backwards. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
Whatever decision y'all make on the new treasurer, please don't go backwards. We have worked hard to get the books cleaned up and get a lot done.
Especially if you
And
made it a lot
yeah.
needed for somebody to come in.
Yeah.
Can I ask you the question I asked you yesterday?
No, don't ask her.
Oh, my
I
gosh.
don't want to. She agreed to it.
Oh, I mean, we're not supposed to put it on record.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
supposed
Joe
to
didn't
be
get
for
to hear
free.
it, so, yeah, I told
Debbie
you.
didn't put it
I
in
told
the
you I'm not
minutes.
gonna charge you, I'm not gonna charge you, absolutely. Get it on record, put the minutes.
Thanks for unraveling some of the processes in our financial loop, because it was a little back and forth here and there. You came in with your expertise and you put it where it flows, like it's supposed to flow. And that is what we want to continue to do going forward. So we thank you for that. Not
You're
a
very
knock
welcome.
on anybody else before, but I don't know if we had that level of expertise in that position before. And it was good that you came and highlighted and emphasized it, and now we know how it's supposed to flow. So
Well, thank you, and Bam,
that
you've been
was
great.
key. That was
Absolutely.
huge. Thank you.
I think y'all have to find a replacement.
Yeah, that's what
I'm actually working
yeah,
on.
when we go to that very last item, that was the
That's
first
it.
thing I was gonna
That's
say.
right.
I am actually working on some, hopefully some.
So next item.
It was-
all ironed out.
It was antiquated.
It just wasn't good. It was a bit.
You had a message, you had a message that came in.
Oh, Teresa, you're, thank you again, and you're welcome to stay for the last portion.
I'm gonna stay here and
Yeah.
listen, might as well.
So if that's completed, we'll go to item C, discuss plan for filling the city treasurer vacancy.
Well, I've been with MTAS. Well, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm just breathing.
Oh.
Give me a breath.
Oh, my bad.
Well, we're glad you're breathing.
My bad.
We don't want you
I
not
ain't doing
breathing.
any
over there.
CPR, so you just have to call somebody else.
I can do it, but you don't want me to.
He does that, he'll just have to flop over.
MTAS still has all the information where they ran the ad before, so as soon as I contact Chuck and Tanya, they're ready to shoot it back out there to all the entities and places that they shot it out there before. So we've got that in place, ready to go.
Well, the salary now, they did print that in their range, didn't it?
Mhm.
I think they had a
Yeah,
range.
they had a
Do we want
range.
to keep the same range or not?
I don't think we have much of a choice if
Well,
you're
I'm
gonna get
just
somebody
asking.
good.
Probably best interest too, because it gives you
It's pretty
scenarios.
wide.
You
Yeah,
hope you
I'm
get
just
somebody that's up toward that upper end, you know what I'm saying? But I think that's what it's gonna take to attract
They might stay 6 months.
somebody.
Here we go.
Party.
So where are we gonna display it differently or advertise it differently than we did last time?
You know, they had multiple, how many places did they have they were sitting into? They had all these different organizations. I thought, did we get it in Columbia paper last time? I think we ought to try to put it in the Daily Herald.
I think we ought to put it on their websites. Can we sneak some information on their city websites? Columbia, Fayetteville, Sugarville.
Well, I asked them about that too, and it's gonna be hard to get somebody from somebody else's place because a lot of cities have seen somebody leave and go to something better, and they may pull one person that they thought
I
would
don't
be
know
a
that they
compliment to their.
would be open to advertising for another city.
I'm not talking about necessarily stealing a current treasurer, but their industries are there. Their industries. How are we hitting their industries?
We didn't send the industry here last time, did we, Greg?
Yeah.
We did? Okay.
And I'll tell you what one told me when I sent it to her and what she did with it.
Well,
You can guess.
ones I talked to would read it. I used to read job openings. I wouldn't even look for a job, but I'd always read them to see what they paid.
Focal plan is
And what is this one?
to use the other
We don't have any disinformation.
advertisement that we
can't
had
wait
with MTS
Mhm.
and do some additional advertising. And that takes place immediately or?
Mhm.
Has to be
Where do
immediately.
you want her to advertise additionally, or
But it was just a
the
suggestion
contiguous
that
counties, or what was it that you want her to do?
Papers.
To send it to?
counties and papers, I mean, if they've got a website for job openings, I'm not suggesting we steal somebody, but we can put it on their website for their job openings.
The Hudson Valley Times over there, there's a lot of people from Huntsville that has jobs that read that paper over there. I don't know, y'all may want to look at
Well, nobody
that,
reads
Pulaski
papers
and
anymore.
Columbia.
Is there a
Then this be-
professional organization of treasurers? Can we get it to them?
What I was gonna say, TGFOA, of course, is huge. Tim Carr, I mean, you've got all the different
For
organizations.
you all that don't know, I'm the new executive director for TGFOA.
Yeah,
So
she is.
you'll send it to
What does that stand for?
Tennessee Government Finance, and I'm the incoming president. So, but there are some organizations, and we definitely will put it on our website. We'll put, and it goes out, the good thing is it goes in a newsletter, goes out everywhere, all across the state.
It's like, what, 900 something members?
It is,
Of
yeah,
organization.
it goes everywhere.
You make sure it gets on
He
there.
needs to go there too.
Councilman Burns suggested before to colleges that have accounting, like MTSU.
Vanderbilt, MTSU.
I think Chuck did send it to some of the universities last time. I think he did.
We need to make sure this time. If not, we can do it. All you gotta do is find who's in the placement offices there.
Okay, so that's the plan? Now, can we discuss an interim?
Yes, sir, that could be part of the plan.
Anybody got any suggestions for the interim? Dan?
Mayor, do we have to have an interim, first of all?
Well, how do we get the task done?
I don't think
Accomplished?
We got a financial
you
assistance.
don't have to necessarily have an interim treasurer. Our plan is to ensure that day-to-day operations, payroll, bill paying, and the books that need to be balanced per month or something every 3 months or 6 months. I think we are cross-trained enough that what we have here can accomplish that task. M-task is like everybody else, they're shorthanded, but they may be able to get somebody here 1 day, 2 days here or there. We just have to give them some advance notice, which I told them, anytime you can send me somebody, we'll take them.
Yeah. That would be Tanya, I assume,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
So,
So is everybody good with that?
Yeah, I think we need to wait before we do that unless we're legally
Right.
bound. I think that's a good plan.
we're legally
I think
bound.
that's a good
It's
plan.
not in our charter that we have to have it.
Right, right.
Pam,
Yeah.
last time did we send it to, auditors?
We're supposed to send it to accounting
To accounting
agencies.
firms, CPA firms, yeah,
Okay.
which their response is basically the same as the industry.
But I was
They
thinking
don't
more
wanna lose
Tennessee
employees.
State auditors, people that work for the state of Tennessee that come out and audit.
We're gonna be in conference next week, and I'm gonna talk to several. I've already put the word out, and we're gonna be around, how many do we have registered for this conference?
Almost 4, about 378, I believe was the last count.
So I'm gonna be talking it up.
Okay.
And then we have
Yes.
about, 36, 38 financial firms that are coming, CPA firms,
Yes.
I mean, all kind of financial.
I stole one time and he was a pretty good worker.
And Mr. Downham is in some type of conference this week too, and he said, I'll start filtering the word of mouth while
That's
I'm
good.
here. We got a lot of people that may know somebody in that area if we don't have them here, so.
See what y'all think about this, Teresa, too. We had, well, like Bam said, not to talk about it in the past. I'm not so sure if we find somebody and do an offer, I really think that we need to look at a credit report or something like that. What do you think?
Well, let me say this, I don't know about their credit report, I don't think you can do that, but what I would do definitely is, you know, in your selection process, the most important thing for you guys is to make sure that you get somebody that understands fund accounting. Okay? It's different than banking, it's different than all this other stuff. Fund accounting is different. I think, you know, and Chuck did a good job with me asking a lot of those questions, okay? And because if you've got somebody sitting in that seat that cannot answer those detailed questions, they do not need to be treasurer. And they don't.
And one thing, I don't to interrupt you, he did say they'd be willing to come down and do the interviews again when we got somebody.
Yeah.
That's fine, that's fine. But I'm just concerned, you know, where to be that, credit score, or a background check, do we require a background check?
Mhm, absolutely.
We do, okay,
It's
okay.
Extensive,
All right.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's extensive.
I don't have to go through this again for a while. Oh, no, like, nobody does.
Tell him how they do those, Pam.
Yeah, and they physically go to the houses, I mean, our.
My neighbors got visited.
So our
You
police-
actually pulled up in the drive or something.
They
didn't
I
you?
pulled up in my driveway and this truck pulls up and he says,
Yeah, they-
are you Teresa Purcell? And I was like, yeah. He
Whole
goes, well, I'm going, I've already talked to your neighbors. I was like, what are you doing?
Is this our people that do
Yes,
it?
he
Well,
goes,
good.
oh yeah, believe me,
That's good.
they check high and low. They talk
Good,
to
good.
senators, congressmen, everybody in
Good.
your community. They talk to the police department. So that's why I'm saying you won't have to worry about it because they check everything. And it's good. It's good that you do that. Absolutely, need to. This is an important position and you need to make sure that, you know, everything is in line before you hire somebody.
So how long are you gonna run the ads before? You got a time limit?
It's for
I don't
you to
think we-
decide.
Just gonna leave it open. open.
Yeah, I leave it open.
Move it open.
We
yeah.
can, you know, we can just leave it open. We get a stack of candidates, just leave it open while we interview those.
Yeah, we get enough.
Yeah,
Let's say,
we get
we
enough,
got, we
we'll
got
go
four, let's go ahead and
Yeah.
see who we
That's
want
what
to
I'm
interview
saying.
out of
Have
here.
something
And
in y'all can
if
start
we don't
interviewing
take
when
anybody,
decide
we'll
to
wait
Right,
on the next.
whenever we have 4 or 5, we can start interviewing and keep going.
In the past,
In-
she told me she was in their position over
It
there.
would happen next time.
Teresa said she would be glad to come sit in on some of the interviews.
If you want me to, I'll be glad to.
It looks bleak, but hey, it may be somebody with a
When you mentioned
spouse.
TGFOA, that did not
They've been in
mean anything to me.
municipal
I asked her
25
to
years,
spell it out.
retired. Now they're in the
And
town.
that's Tennessee
Working
Government
for a
Finance
small city.
Officers Association. And she's the executive director. Everybody understand that? And you are the incoming president.
That's one of the
Congratulations to both of you.
growth of people coming in.
There goes your retirement.
I don't know what retirement is yet, because I've worked harder since I left
What
than
you got here?
when I went here.
Working already.
If there's nothing else, that's all on the agenda. Do we have to have a motion?
Yes, sir.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
Councilman Marvel makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilman Bradford seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.